first of all, incredibly personal. That's a really big undertaking. It's a really great question. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Carla if you're new here, and I make videos about how I show up for myself in hopes of inspiring you to do the same. In today's video, I am answering your questions that you asked me on YouTube. This is fully for you guys, my OGs on YouTube. I didn't even go over to Instagram and give them the opportunity to ask anything. So we are going to get into it. I have tried to film this video once before and there was two chainsawing in the background. So we're starting from scratch. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, a glass of water, whatever it is, whatever your poison is. Whatever happened to her? So we had 42 questions from you guys, so there's no way I'm going to be able to get through all of them, but we're going to start at the start and keep going and hope for the best. So without further ado, let's get answering. Amanda asked, are you and Vincent planning on having any more children, or is the effect it has on the female body putting you off doing it again? I'm an only child and have always hated it and wished I had brothers and sisters. You're treated differently when you're only, as other children think you're spoilt. I was determined to have more than one child and now have two grown-up sons. First of all, incredibly personal to start off, but I am of the opinion if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We're not actively trying, we're not actively avoiding. If it happens, c'est la vie. I am nearly 38 years old and who knows what could happen, but I think if it doesn't happen, that's okay. I have one beautiful, perfect son. If it happens, I had a very, very traumatic birth. I had a wonderful pregnancy, very traumatic birth, incredibly traumatic postpartum period. So I don't love the idea of being pregnant again, to be perfectly honest with you. I do love the idea of Brannock having a sibling, but am I the one that has to do it? Your boy March 2 asked, are you a fan of pro wrestling? No, I am not a fan of pro wrestling. I did used to watch WWE Divas when it was on E, like Nikki and Brie Bella, but like that's as much as I got into it. So no, I'm definitely not a fan of pro wrestling. Okay, let's go in. How did you balance calorie counting and stopping eating when you're full? I'm trying to be better at stopping once satiated, but I feel compelled to eat food since I've already included in my calories. Oh, that's a really interesting one. I would, if for yourself here, if you're already full, I would start with smaller portions and then promise yourself that you can go back for other portions for more. It's a habit that we get into, and like all habits, they are breakable. It's just something that we know that we can do. It's a habit / compulsion. I would reduce your portion sizes down, and then if that's not working for you, and you can always go back and have a second portion. If not, I would practice doing it really mindfully. So you would have your food on the plate, get to where you say, okay, no, I am satisfied with this. Because if you're able to say, if you know that that's being satiated, that's really good. That's a really good first step. And go, okay, I'm going to leave the rest of this food on this plate. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to walk away. If I can wait 20 minutes and then I decide I still want that food, then I'm going to eat it. If I don't want it, then I'm getting rid of it. So either trying one or the other, smaller portions, or being actively giving yourself that 20-minute buffer to see if you can, and you need to move away from the food. If you sit there in front of it for 20 minutes, that 20 minutes is going to look like 4 hours for you. Get up, move it, put it into the fridge or whatever it is, put it away, and then go, okay, no, I think I'm actually okay. You'll probably find it's just getting into the habit of doing that as opposed to the habit of just eating for the sake of it. Hopefully that helps. Okay, this one really bothered me, not because of what they said, but for your own safety. So Penelope Periwinkle, I'm working through why I suddenly stopped walking. A stranger came up behind me out of nowhere, seriously out of nowhere. He was right behind me and put his hand on my shoulder. Has this ever happened to you? I froze in response, and I don't feel safe walking alone now. First of all, I hope you're okay. I imagine you're okay physically and out of danger because you were able to write this message, and it seems like this was a period of time ago, I don't know how long, but it wasn't 5 minutes ago. As women, we are incredibly vulnerable when we walk alone anywhere. And I'm really sorry that this happened to you. I'm really, really sorry this happened to you. I don't have any advice for you on what to do besides making sure that somebody knows where you are every time you're walking, that you walk in well lit parts of a street if you're walking at nighttime, or that you make sure that maybe carry a personal alarm. I'll leave some linked down below. There's also an app called Road ID, which I used to use, which I haven't used in a while, but I think it's actually something I'm going to implement again. And I believe if you don't move in a certain period of time, or you can set alarms, or it can notify people around you. You can also have people track your location on Google Maps and on WhatsApp as well, so that they can see a live map of where you are. Or Find My Friends on Apple if your partner, husband, somebody your friend has another Apple device. We are incredibly vulnerable as women, and we are incredibly, we can be at the mercy of somebody at any point. I completely understand that you don't feel safe. I would maybe suggest walking with somebody for a while until you feel okay again. Or maybe it's just where you live. Maybe walking alone is not an appropriate option. Maybe, which is unfortunate that you have to change it because of somebody doing that. I hope you're okay. I don't know what that person wanted, what their goal was with that, to do that to you. But anyway, it's an invasion of privacy. It's a boundary that, they're not allowed to touch you no matter what their goal was. And I hope that you're okay. I'm sorry that I can't fix this for you. I do hope that you can walk again by yourself. I have had some instances where I have encountered strange people. I would also maybe recommend doing a self-defense class. It's something I thought about quite a lot, and it's something that actually, now that I think about it again, I'm gonna do, because if we have the basics in self-defense anyway to help in those situations, that will be just another tool in our arsenal. And while we should not have to do this as women, and there are vulnerable men out there as well, but as women, we know that in a lot of countries, in a lot of places, we are scared to walk down a street alone at nighttime. We are scared to do a lot of things, and we shouldn't have to live in fear. But sometimes that's the reality, and we need to make sure that we can protect ourselves as much as possible. So making sure somebody knows where you are, using apps to track where you are so somebody will always know, make sure they know the route that you go, maybe even checking in with them. But then if you encounter somebody, having a personal safety alarm or having the basics in self-defense may help. I'm sorry that I can't help more. Christina asked, "Hi Carla, thank you for the motivation you give me." Thank you, Christina. Mentally, it was harder to lose, I think this is a question. Mentally, was it harder to lose weight the first or second time, and why? I believe Christina is probably asking, was it harder to lose weight pre-partum or postpartum? And honestly, it's really hard to answer that question, because they were both difficult and both easy they were different. I started off obviously pre having a baby. I started off at 23 stone or over 300 pounds. Whereas when I started off, when postpartum, I wasn't even 180 pounds or something like that, I think. So it's really hard to answer that question because they're totally different starting points. So when I got down to 180-ish pounds when I was in my first weight loss attempt, I was in weight loss. So it just I was just going for it. I was in that cycle. I was in that consistency. I was in that mode. It didn't even bother me. So starting in my prepartum at a heavier weight, do you know what? They were probably, in their own ways, they were the same. Postpartum was more challenging because I was a mother and I had now have somebody that was dependent on me. When I used to go walking before I had a child, Vincent didn't care whether I was walking at 4 a.m, 5 a.m, 6 a.m. It didn't bother him. But then when there is a child that is dependent on you, you're now at the mercy of their every waking need. And that was more challenging because I didn't always have my freedom in order to do it. So that was definitely a challenge. But there were so many other challenges that I faced in my massive weight loss. There was COVID hit, Body Slims transferred online. I was dependent on, like, I was a manager for a charity and I was doing so much with that and like trying to make money and keep the ship going. And that was incredibly difficult. So everything has its difficult. I think when we start to label things as more difficult or less difficult, it becomes very black and white, whereas these things are honestly so grey. There's so much grey area in them. And I would say that I was definitely, both were challenging in their own aspect, in their own way. I didn't find it harder to lose weight. Like the amount of weight that I lost per week didn't slow or anything. And I think that that's something that a lot of people will kind of tell themselves. I didn't allow any narratives about postpartum weight loss or my aging weight or any of that kind of stuff to infiltrate my mind. I cleared my mind and I just went for it exactly the same way that I had before I had Brannock, and I succeeded. So I'll leave a link up here if you guys want to check out my full postpartum weight loss journey. I have I think there's 16 videos because I did a check-in each week on how it was going. So, hi Carla, any tips please on sweet cravings? Thank you. This is from Millie Moo. Millie, I eat something sweet. Eat something sweet. The couple of things that I would say here is, how are you feeling when you have a sweet craving? What are you telling yourself? What's going on in your head? How are you emotional? What's your body telling you? Because that's something we never check in with, is how our body is actually feeling in this moment. Are you anxious? Are you stressed? Are you sad? Are you bored when that craving hits? Is it hormonal? What would happen if you didn't give in to the craving? What would happen if you did something else? If you moved, if you did a 5-minute walk, if you went and had a bath, if you went and read a book, if you moved and changed your scene, what would happen then? Ask yourself those questions. I found that I would get that niggling for something after dinner, and sometimes it would be a habit. And it was a habit, again, as I mentioned earlier, it was a habit that I had to break. It was something that I had to learn to live without. And when you learn to do it once, this is really important. When you learn to do something once, you get a satisfaction from doing it. It's a dopamine hit when you overcome that craving once. And then you can do it again. And it starts to build belief in yourself, and it starts to kind of mend your super ego. It starts to make you feel really good in yourself. But sometimes you just want something sweet. Have something sweet. Find something that is going to suit your diet or your calories and work it in. I know that there are people who say sweet is something that's really important to you. I didn't have a sweet tooth prior to getting pregnant. Once I got pregnant and postpartum, and also my medication as well. So I'm on an antidepressant that is just lends itself fully to needing sweets. So I understand, so the first time I wasn't really that big an issue for me. The second time I found that I definitely had more of a craving for sweets. Pre-portion your sweets at the start of the day. If you say you have a little box or something, grab a little basket like so and put in whatever it is that your sweet of choice is. Say it's a candy bar or a couple of jellies or something like that. That's maybe 200 calories worth. Keep that in your little box and put it out of sight. Really important that it's out of sight. And then if you want it, you have your pre-portioned, it's in within your calorie allowance. And I can hear a lot of people saying now, yeah, but that's not enough. But that's your internal narrative saying that. It's not reality. And not everything that your internal narrative is telling you is the truth. 99% of it is probably absolute bollocks, to be perfectly honest with you, to be frank. So put that away. Don't let that voice rise up and hear it saying, that's not going to be enough. You don't know. You're going to try and see if that's going to be enough. As you go through your day, if you feel like having that, then have something that's in your bag or in your little basket, because you've got it pre-portioned. It's in your calorie it's already there. And if you don't, then that's also a win. So it's just a little tool to kind of manage it. I also found ways of getting like a nice kind of sweet thing out of something that was, say, those Alpro chocolate soy desserts or dark chocolate. And honestly, I know that this sounds like there's probably like people who are like, ugh, your one is saying get that. No, I understand that this sounds like the skinny person is telling me to eat dark chocolate. I understand it. I know it's like when people used to tell me that before, but when you stop eating so much sugar, your body doesn't crave sugar anymore. It is literally an addiction. It can be something that is within you that is like, it's like it feeds you. It's biological. And if you can start to move away from sugar, you will not crave it as much. I promise you, because I have. And I have to be aware of it, because sometimes I'll just like give in and I'll have something, and then I'll find myself reaching for sugar constantly during the day. Another really important tip here is that if you're craving sugar, do not eat sugar on an empty stomach. Do not eat sugar on an empty stomach. I cannot say this enough, because that is all you will want then. That is your that will be your go-to, believe me. You want to get out, Smushy? All right. Next. Tips you would give a mom on losing weight, or even just advice for moms in general. Okay, advice for moms in general. Well, that's a really big undertaking. 12 pounds down so far out of 120 goal is amazing. First of all, like, you are on the way. That is 10% of your goal. So unreal, because 10% is like one of the biggest first hurdles. The couple of things that I would say is I would recommend checking out Body Slims, because it's the program that I did. It what helped me. Yes, I'm a brand ambassador for Body Slims, but I paid for and did the 4 programs that I did to lose weight. I would also recommend making sure that you give yourself time and arrange. Hopefully you have a partner or a husband or somebody with you. I would recommend, or like somebody like your mom, a family friend, that you can give yourself time, because time is really important as a new mom. I don't know whether you're a new mom or you're an existing mom, but my God, is time for yourself so important. That's why I wake up really early in the morning. I go out, I get my walk done, I get my physio done before the devil knows I'm dead, before my whole world starts to wake up and need me. I've given myself that time. And find a community, I think, that is maybe not mother orientated. Find something that is for you, that is outside of being a mom, that is not just being a mom. That's not the term I mean, but like, I thought when I had my son that was it, that I was supposed to just be a mother and nothing else, that I was all facets of my personality, my abilities, my intelligence, everything else was just gone. Nothing mattered anymore. None of my interests, none of my hobbies. The only thing that mattered was being a mother. And that's not true, because you can't fill from an empty cup, and we are multifaceted human beings. We have things that we love to do. We have things that we love to explore and experience, and you can do all of those and still be a mom. And in fact, doing those makes you a better mom, I believe. And I know a lot of people disagree with me on this, and that's okay. We don't all have to agree. But I did find that when I started to take more time for myself, that I became a better mother. In terms of weight loss, remember that it's about consistency. So one day on top of another, your motivation will wane, and that consistency is going to need to pick up. I'll also say that be very wary as a mom of eating the leftovers of your child's food, because that's really easy to do. The same with like going to McDonald's and those kind of things. If you're going to go to McDonald's, that's okay. Eat something, but make sure you calorie count it. McDonald's is completely nutritionally devoid, and you'll be starving like 20 minutes later. You're actually probably better off with Burger King, because at least it's better food. But that's besides the point. But just make sure that you're aware if you are eating food that they have left, and that you are not a rubbish bin, and you do not need to eat their leftovers or what's left on their plate. Feed yourself as well as them. Mary Miller. Hi, Carla. Firstly, thank you for inspiring me on my current weight loss journey. You're very welcome. I am using Slimming World online, no group. I'm wondering if you have an opinion on Slimming World. as it feels healthy and well balanced and is working. I'm 60, so losing feels slow, question metabolism, but getting there. Question that, Mary, that negative self-talk. What are you telling yourself? What narrative are you living by? I'm worried about maintenance when I get to my 10 stone goal. Daily, I just tell myself, keep going. Also, I know you believe in getting to the root of why you gained weight is so important, but I don't know why for myself and can't afford therapy. It's so expensive. I hope I can maintain once I'm there next year. Sending you love and thank you for the inspiration. Thank you, Mary. I'm really sorry if I'm not saying your name right. I know some of the YouTube handles are kind of really strange. So anyway, my personal opinion on Slimming World is that I'm not a big fan of it. And yes, I am a brand ambassador for Body Slims, which is technically a competitor of Slimming World. But pre me even trying doing Body Slims, I wasn't a fan of Slimming World. And there's a number of reasons as to why. The first is I don't like the idea of labelizing and demonizing foods such as sins and free food. What I don't like about Slimming World is that it creates negative connotations for food and creates a new language around food. There is a very easy way of working out food. That is calories. It's universal. Calories, and then you've got nutrients and your macronutrients. And I don't like the idea of reducing down, like of changing that, because when you get to your goal weight, then typically you would have to remain on Slimming World kind of for the rest of your life, or you'll have to learn about your maintenance calories, what those are, and eat in a different way. If you're happy to do so, that's completely up to you. I have known many, many, many people who have had great success losing weight on Slimming World. I have known that the majority of those people have regained. This is my anecdotal, personal experience, and I have been to Slimming World as well, multiple times. But that is my personal experience of this as a diet. I would recommend having a look at Mar, who is known as that fat vegan bitch on Instagram. She did Slimming World to lose weight. And when she got to her goal weight, then she realized that she had no idea about nutrients. She had no idea how to live her life in maintenance. And that is a big concern because, as people will always say, losing weight is easy, but keeping it off is the hard part, which is absolute bullcrap, by the way. When you lose weight, when you give yourself the tools during weight loss, so both the knowledge of the types of food that are going to help you to get to your goal, the types of food that are going to help you to maintain your weight loss, the new habits that get you there, maintenance does not have to be hard. It can be challenging at some parts, but it does not always have to be difficult. But when you don't give yourself those tools in your weight loss journey, that's when I believe that the odds are stacked against us for weight maintenance. And that's why weight maintenance is always seen as this really like giant thing that we have to overcome and that most people fail on. And it's a hurdle. Whereas I don't believe that's the case, because I'm living proof that it's not. My sister's living proof, and many people who've done Body Slims, it's living proof. So they're kind of demonizing different types of food and not really like this. The idea of free foods and not free foods and all this kind of thing is, honestly, it's not great. It's not brilliant because it's not giving you the tools to live your life. And then I understand about the why. You don't have to understand the why fully, but you do have to at least understand the habits that get you to why. The habits that are the things that you have done personally that have gotten you to needing to lose weight in the first place. So whether it is that nighttime habitual eating, whether it is the fuck it mentality and just going for throwing anything in. Like I've spoken about habits 3 times here. In Body Slims Jared will always talk about first you form the habit and then the habit forms you. And it's so true, because all of those things that we do, those habits that we've created, that they are what got us to needing to lose weight. It's not doing something once. It's not the big blowout dinner or the one takeaway that you had. That's not going to cause you to put on weight. It's the constantly eating 2 bars of chocolate every night. It's the having 4 glasses of wine every night. It's the always having the bun with your giant coffee with sugar syrup in it every single morning when you go out to meet the friends. It's those things that are going to bring you to needing to lose weight. And then when you take those off and you don't address those habits and you get to your goal weight, if we don't know and we're not aware of those habits, they can creep back in again. And they can still creep back in again, even if we're aware of them. But we have the tools then to go, okay, no, wait, hold on. I need to undo this. I need to dismantle this habit and put it in place, new habits. So that's, even if you don't know the why is a mechanism I think we need to know. I hope that makes sense. But you can still do that, I hope, with Slimming World, and you can do a little bit of work on your whys. So maybe like looking at some self-compassion work, some negative self-talk work, or yourself just journaling on your habits, journaling on how you feel about things and becoming really self-aware, because I think it's the self-awareness as well that will lead you towards maintenance, to successful maintenance. Oh, wow. This is a really intense question. Me, Lanny Momster, how did you figure out who you are? Huge question, I know. I'm at the point of trying to figure out what I like, what's important to me, for me, and what I actually want. I'm in CBT and EDM or therapy, a blessing to be sure. But none of it holds any practical advice how to rediscover oneself as a woman. Any advice? This is excellent. This is a really great question. So, I thought about this. I saw this question and I've been thinking about this for a really long time. And how did I discover who I am? And how I did that was examining the narrative that I created for myself and that was created for me, and taking out a piece of information from my brain almost, examining that and going, is this true or is this not? And if it's not, maybe it belongs to somebody else. And then saying, not literally, but figuratively, metaphorically saying, and I'm going to give you back that piece. Say, for example, I was always told that I was oversensitive, and that being oversensitive is wrong, that it is a negative. My whole childhood, I was told this, that I was too sensitive, I was oversensitive, I wore my heart in my sleeve, that it was a negative. So through therapy, which you're doing, but even through journaling as well, this was through journaling that I discovered this, through my morning pages, or you can take out a thing that you tell yourself. I'm oversensitive, is what I told myself. I am oversensitive. I'm over emotional. And therefore I started to subdue those emotions because it was seen as a negative thing. And in turn, I created barriers because being sensitive was wrong. This is what I learned as a child. So I took that out and I examined that. Am I sensitive? Yes, I am a sensitive person. That is true. That is a truth about me. But let's look at it a little bit different, a little more intense. Is being sensitive wrong? No, I don't think it is wrong. I don't think being sensitive or being emotive or being attached and able to express my emotions is wrong. And therefore, it's okay. So I allowed myself then to start to feel my emotions again, to learn about my emotions, to examine them, to feel them, to process them, and not numb them out with food. I looked at that piece of information. I am sensitive. Yes, I'm going to own that piece. But that's negative. Nope, I'm going to put that on you. I'm going to hand that back to the people who said that to me. Because I believe and I know that my sensitivity, that my vulnerability is my superpower. My vulnerability, being sensitive, being an empath, being an emotive person, when I have the tools to work with it, to feel my emotions, to be okay to feel them, that it's a beautiful and wonderful thing that has led me to losing weight. It has led me to overcoming a lot with my mental health and has led me to doing this now. It is being a sensitive person is what has led me to be able to be a good communicator. It has allowed me to be okay to do this as a job, to share. Because I was told that sharing was bad. But I don't think sharing is bad. I think it creates a common humanity. It creates something that's beautiful. So I got to know who I am by examining those things, those narratives that I had created or that were created for me, and checking, are these true or are they false? And if they're true, is that a good, bad, neutral thing? And holding on to the bits that I really thought were true and that were good. And some of those things were negatives. And then I could process those and work through them and find ways to manage. But that's how I got to know who I was. I hope that answers the question. I hope that helps. It's a really great question. Sewing Hippie asked, what are your top 5 favourite metal bands? Mine are all over the place. There's so many different styles of metal. I would love to know more about yours. Much love from Seattle. Okay. Sorry, train. I would say that this is again, and I'm sorry to anybody who is not into metal. There's the thing that happens here with metal is that like there's so many subgenres and that we get very like into our like hipster thing, like that's not this kind of metal and that's not the right kind of metal and all this kind of stuff. Like I would consider Rammstein metal, like industrial metal, and they would be my favorite metal, I think. I love Satyricon, Destroyer 666, Primordial, Sorcerer, Judas Priest. See, Judas Priest is like old school British metal. Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, older. So I'm going to go for top 5. See, I love Slipknot and I love Limp Bizkit as well. Oh, this is really hard. This is a really good question. Because, yeah, I would say, then Typo Negative. But is that goth? Is that metal? Okay, I'm going to go for Rammstein, Satyricon, Old Season, Primordial, Black Sabbath, Judas Priest. Those 5, 6. I think. I don't know. I'm going to go for those for now. I'm sure I'll regret that. Like 2 minutes later, I'll be like, Okay. Dame Perdita, what advice do you have for figuring out what on earth someone should do with her life when she spent most of it exhaustingly just trying to do the right thing? Ooh. Obviously, there are good and bad things we can do with our lives, but what would you recommend for determining in what avenue to pursue both personal happiness and doing something good effectively? I've spent so much of my time trying to do something worthwhile and failed so many times that I need to rethink how I apply my gifts. Wow. That's a loaded question, isn't it? I would figure out what you're good at and 2 different things that you're good at, and skill stack, and then figure out what it is that you can do that applies those skills. This is from the Almanac. Actually, the first thing I would do is listen to the Almanac of Naval Ravikant. It's available free on Spotify. I'll link it down below. It is an amazing book, and I would skill stack, which I believe is either, I think it's Naval or it might be Stephen Bartlett who kind of like goes into this more. But basically, ask your family, especially your parents, if you have a good relationship with them, or like your partner or somebody that knows your best friends, your sister, somebody that knows you really well. Ask them what you're really good at. And then ask them, and then see what else you're really good at. Ask a few people, what do you think I'm really good at? So I'm really good at communicating with people. That is definitely a skill that I have. I'm also a bit creative. Not in the traditional like drawing creative, but I'm creative in the way I tell stories. I'm creative in my writing. And those things stacked together. So if you can find something as well that's kind of like a little bit different. So I'm also really good at getting dressed. Like that's kind of, I'm really good at communication and I'm really good at fashion, dressing, makeup. So combining those two to deliver, to package myself as something has led me to this career. So finding two kind of complementary or like really random things that is not normal for people to have. So say like somebody is, I think the example that they give was Steve Jobs, who did graphic design, typography in school, as well as obviously the like creation, like tech part. So using those two skills created Apple, because Apple is all about the aesthetic, the clean. Do you get me? So I would try and find those skills and then see what you can do in that industry, and always make sure that what you're doing, what you feel inside when you're doing something makes you feel expansive, because if it makes you feel restricted, that it's not right. If it makes you feel expansive, then it is the right choice. That's the way I kind of tell whether something is good or not for me. Sandy Edwards asked, Carla, you once said that you don't reread your morning pages, but I'm curious if you hold on to the old journals. What about old clothes? Do you use anything as reference for where you've been in your journey? I do have all my my morning pages journals. I keep all of them. I've never read back through them, but yes, I do have all of them. Might be interesting actually to read back through them at some point. Like not online, but just personally for myself. But it's not something I have done or think about doing at the moment. For clothes, I've gotten rid of every single item of clothes that I had when I was 23 stone. It's really important part of Body Slims to get rid of your clothes, except for one bag of reference clothes that I keep in the attic, nowhere near myself. And I use them mainly for content, or I use them if I'm having a day where I'm like, I don't remember what I've done. So I have one pair of jeans, I have one dress, a belt, a couple of things like that were things that I always wore, that were like staples for me, a bra, that kind of thing, pair of knickers, like nearly one of each thing so that I can see how far I've come. But everything else is gone, either donated or sold or just was for the bin. Because okay, I'm going to answer two more kind of quick questions. Jen asked, hair, dyed or natural? Dyed. Home or hairdresser? Hairdresser. Air dried or styled? Air dried with the silky sausage. Spill the tea, please. You've such beautiful hair on your beautiful head. Thank you very much, Jen. My hair, I'm actually doing a carousel at the moment, which will be up, which I will link down below, which is detailing, it'll be on Instagram, is detailing exactly what I do with my hair. So I had like terrible hair for years, then postpartum, post weight loss, it broke off, and I basically changed the way I do my hair completely. I have it dyed every 7 to 8 weeks professionally, semi-permanent. It is the darkest brown mixed with black so that it is not in any way warm, that it's cool toned, but it's not black. I always have a Wellaplex treatment every time that I get my hair dyed, which goes into the dye, and it also goes on your head after the dye. That has saved my hair. I don't use heat on it, like rarely use heat, and my hair is naturally dead straight, and this is just from the silky sausage, just from like the air wrap, like not the air wrap, what's it called? The wrappy yolk. Let me show you. This yolk. I'll link that down below, and I will link a video of me doing that, because that saved my hair. So I sleep in that every single night, and when I wake up, this is what my hair looks like. I wash my hair once a week, and I oil the bottoms of my hair every time I wash it to protect them and to keep them like sealed. And then I get my hair trimmed every second to third visit to my hairdressers. So every 6 to 8 months I get my hair trimmed. Sometimes I get like the front bits if I'm doing like fringe or something, or I might get them trimmed a little bit more. But other than that, that's it. A lot less heat, and just a colour shampoo, because colour is moisturising. I have oily roots, and I always used to use stripping shampoo to get rid of the oil buildup, and then I actually realised that by using a colour with more a colour shampoo, which was more hydrating. It actually hydrated my scalp and reduced the oiliness. Who knew? All right. Last couple of questions because oh God, what Bank of Ireland want. How do you get your teeth so white? I always have tea and coffee stains on mine. Thank you, Morgan. It's funny, I think my teeth are not that white. I get my teeth, I've only started doing this like really recently, but I brush my teeth, obviously, every morning, every night with a soft toothbrush. I floss my teeth every single night. That I think has an effect on the colouring of it. And then I have been using the Philips whitening teeth system. I get it done in Satara Medical. I got the trays and then I got the stuff from them. And that's what I've used recently. But other than that, that's only in the last 2 months or so. Other than that, that's like my teeth have always been like, my teeth used to be so yellow, like so yellow. I also get a scale and polish done every 6 months religiously. I had a really bad experience with the dentist a couple of years ago where I basically had to have root planing done. And if anyone's had to have that done, it is both expensive, it's painful for your wallet and for your mouth. It was a horrendous situation. I actually don't think I needed to have it done. I think I was just taken for a ride, but that's another story. I'm super interested in your nail routine. Hi, Sunflower. Like how you choose the colours and designs, how often you get them done and how long you've been getting them done for. Maybe also tips and tricks, what to look out for, what type of nails you have and how you deal with them growing out, etc. Right. This has kind of turned into a beauty section, the last bit. These are my nails, my current nails. Can we focus? There we go. These are my natural nails. I go to Genevieve in Dublin. Currently go to Katie O. I think it's her. Yeah, I think it's Katie O. I normally go to Nicole Tehan, but she is on maternity leave at the moment. And Katie is also brilliant. I have my nails done every 3 weeks. I have a standing appointment every 3 weeks that I book in months in advance. And it's called All in One by Builder in a Bottle by the gel company. It is not Biab. It is not the same as Biab. It is thinner. It's not as thick and I don't have to have it removed every 2 to 3 things. I just have it refilled. I have had nails like this since Brannock was born without a single break. As in like a break of time or a break actually. I've had one nail break in that time. And then I will always have nail art. So I look for nail art on Instagram. I will look for inspiration of what the season is, what styles I like. There are a couple of people that I always like their nails, like Sammy Jeff Coty, Jordan Orion. They always have really nice nails. There's another girl, I cannot remember her name for the life of me right now. They always have really nice nails, nail art, and I will just like take a picture of that and bring it in to Katie or to Nicole, or I'll kind of come up with some kind of idea. Or like elements of something that I like. I just love having my nails done. I love having my nails done. I have psoriasis on my nails, so my nails peel if they are left natural. If I don't have it's called Gimme Strength as well. You have to book, when you're booking it, you have to like put all the different things in. So yeah, I have that done every 3 weeks and yeah, then I just go back in and redo them, and they are. So when I book in for. Let me tell you the exact thing. Katie be like, if somebody comes in. It is KTO. It is removal and application of gel polish with Gimme Strength Strengthener, which is what they call it on Genevieve's website. And then I also add on free hand nail art for 30 minutes with Katie. So it takes about an hour and a half every 3 weeks. It kills me to sit there for an hour and a half and do nothing. It is very painful for my ADHD, but then it's done. And then I don't have to do them and look at them again for 3 weeks. And then I'll just like save some pictures in I have a saved thing on Instagram, like on a saved folder of nail art. And I'll be like, oh, maybe this one. Oh, maybe this one I'll do. So like, I have just tons of like nail pictures that I'll be like, oh, maybe this one too. Ooh, that one. Anyway, guys, that is the end of today's video. I hope you have enjoyed. I really loved answering those questions. They were fun and different. If you've made it to the end, please leave me that nail emoji or ask me any other questions if you'd like me to do a part 2 to this, because I love this kind of video. It's kind of fun to do. It's a bit different, a little less like intense sometimes for me. And make sure you're subscribed, like this video, share it with anybody, and I'll love you and leave you, and I will talk to you next time. Do not forget to show up for yourselves. Bye, guys.